Justin Baldoni is a cautionary tale for Hollywood's male feminists. And just days ago, Judge Lyman actually dismissed Blake Lively's claims of emotional distress against Justin Baldoni, only for us to find out yesterday that Justin Baldoni's entire defamation countersuit against Blake Lively has been thrown out. It is dead in the water. A lot of people are saying there's still a chance, he can still appeal, he can still refile. But people who have been covering this story and following it very closely are saying that is highly unlikely, and it's dead in the water for Justin Baldoni. He went up against the Hollywood MeToo establishment, and he lost this battle. Now, the trial is still set for May 2026 because Blake Lively's defamation and sexual harassment suit against Justin Baldoni is still active and being litigated. But his suit against her in response is what has been completely thrown out as of yesterday, which it also alleged extortion and other claims. He has an opportunity to amend and refile only a couple of allegations regarding interference with contracts. This is a statement from Blake Lively's team. Today's opinion is a total victory and a complete vindication for Blake Lively, along with those that Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer parties dragged into their retaliatory lawsuit, including Ryan Reynolds, Leslie Sloan, and the New York Times. As we've said from day one, this $400 million lawsuit was a sham, and the court saw right through it. We look forward to the next round, which is seeking attorney's fees, treble damages, and punitive damages against Baldoni, Steve Sarowitz, Melissa Nathan, and the other Wayfarer parties who perpetrated this abusive litigation. So, yeah, it's over for him. He's cooked. And a lot of people thought he had it in the bag. But the reason why this defamation suit from Baldoni was thrown out was because Blake Lively went about this in a very smart way, on technicality. She has privileges, litigation privileges for her claims, because you cannot sue someone for defamation based on claims they made in a legal complaint, which was her complaint with the Civil Rights Department in California. I didn't even know that because I'm not a lawyer, but that is the reason that was given for his suit being thrown out. And also, the New York Times is exempt from these defamation claims because they have privileges of the press, free reporting privileges. So it's kind of over for him. He doesn't really have a way out of this. And Colonel Kurtz, a friend of the show, has been covering this lawsuit play by play very closely for months now. This was her response. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a plaintiff to win a defamation suit in our court system. Looks like absolutely terrible news for Justin Baldoni and a giant win for Blake Lively. I told y'all a long time ago that my years of following these Me Too cases, it had become clear it's basically impossible to get justice for defamation. At the time, some of you chastised me for being negative, but look at what always seems to happen. I'll defer to those with more legal insight. But I see no good news here. The judge flat out told them not to bother refiling on almost all of the claims. They said the Wayfarer parties have not made a showing that the complaint's defects can be cured. I don't see any way to interpret this other than as disastrous for Baldoni's case. That's just how it is, unfortunately. And then she finished it off saying, there is the court of public opinion, and then there is God's court. I swear before you all that I will continue to do everything to bring light to the truth, and if there is a God, Blake Lively better hope he's a fan of narcissistic lying actresses and their ego-inflated husbands, because if he's not, she's got some major bad karma coming. And she said further, to those who say no biggie, they can just refile. No, read what the judge wrote. Most of the claims cannot come back. But don't be deluded. This was a giant, permanent legal blow, and I would not hold out big hope for the remaining claims. Ariana Jacob also added her take. She is someone who sued the New York Times for defamation as well after Taylor Lorenz published a hit piece about her, and the same thing happened to her in her case. As much as it sucks, I knew Baldoni's defamation suit would get tossed. I've been through this. Surviving a motion to dismiss is almost impossible. Most never make it. Mine barely did. So, my opinion on all of this just boils down to Justin Baldoni had it coming from the start. He encouraged the Me Too movement. He has been an outspoken male feminist for his entire public life. And he, as we're about to show you, praised the MeToo movement and called on men to believe women, even if they are making a claim against them.
Are you confident enough to listen to the women in your life and actually believe them, even if what they're saying is against you? And will you be man enough to stand up to other men when you hear locker room talk, when you hear stories of sexual harassment, when you hear your boys talking about grabbing ass or getting her drunk? Will you actually stand up and do something so that one day we don't have to live in a world where a woman has to risk everything and come forward to say the words "Me Too"? I believe that as men, it's time we start to see past our privilege and recognize that we are not just part of the problem, fellas, we are the problem. So women, on behalf of men all over the world, please forgive us. Are you confident?
And Tim responded to that saying he's asking for forgiveness here because he's confessing he's a male feminist and sexually harassed a poor and defenseless woman. I mean, obviously that's facetious, but he clearly had it coming. I think that this was him digging his own grave. Yeah. And call me callous for saying that. I don't really care. When you are happy to throw other people under the bus when they are faced with false allegations, I don't believe in karma, but it certainly looks like karma, what's happening to him right now.
Yep. Yeah. In my headcanon, they both suffer.
I mean, they're both suffering from just having to go through this reputational damage and spending massive amounts of money on their own legal fees, for sure.
His career's not over. If anything, it's elevated his status within the industry, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who will sign up to work with him, given the fact that there are plenty of people that don't seem to like Blake Lively all that much.
Sure,
So, if anybody probably won in the court of public opinion, it still would have been him. And it'll probably bolster his career, which may or may not help him, given the fact that he may have to pay out a large amount in the lawsuit. Mm-hmm. But on principle, if I'm to believe that what she said was false and she lied, I don't want her to benefit from this either. Are you man enough to be misogynist enough to want the male feminist to suffer and the woman to suffer if they both did something wrong?
Well, okay, but there is no way for him to seek justice now. So
the best justice for him would be to not have to pay out, because the other thing he's got to worry about now is legal fees, lawyers' fees from her side, if they go after him for that, which they did indicate that they were planning to do. But if it bolsters his career and he's able to make more money, then I guess the best revenge is living well. And I could care less about him, and I could care even less about her. I think they're both awful people. Him more so because of his prior comments and not understanding what that was going to mean for other people in the industry, and her because from everything that you saw in the case, she was certainly an awful person and made plenty of claims against him that seemed to be demonstrably false. Yeah. So whatever. It's Hollywood. They all deserve each other.
Yeah, but to me, it's like a play stupid games, win stupid prizes situation. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of people could learn from this, including Justin Baldoni. I'm curious what he's thinking privately right now and what he's going to learn from this whole experience. He clearly was ignorant when he made these prior statements, if not malicious.
That was part of his whole shtick early in his career.
Like, I'm a nice guy. I'm a male feminist. I'm sensitive. I have an open heart. I like to be vulnerable.
It wasn't just TED Talks. It was also, he had like a podcast about it. And his whole business model was branded on this kind of stuff. And, you know, he didn't account for Hollywood Mean Girl. That's a subset of the population that you usually can't win against. Yeah. Unless you're Johnny Depp.
Yeah, well, I mean, he would have thrown Johnny Depp under the bus easily. He wouldn't have cared. That's why I don't feel bad for him. And people have been very offended at me saying that, but I really don't care. I think that he is giving everyone a moral to this story. You know, he fell on the sword for this movement that he himself propped up.
Vamp Fashion says, Brett is sad for his boy bro. His hate for actual women is palpable. Blake Lively is not representative of your average everyday woman by any stretch of the imagination.
I would certainly hope not.
Yeah. look into the case and everything about it. And yeah,
that's kind of why I hated the response to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard lawsuit, because people turned it into a proxy battle between men and women, as if either of these drug-addled, insane actors represent large swaths of the population. They both were in a mutually destructive, toxic, mutually abusive relationship, in my opinion, from looking through it back in 2022. I didn't care all that much for defending Johnny Depp either. Clearly, when someone is in a toxic relationship like that, they see there's some benefit to being in that relationship, to staying in it. You can't really pull them out of it for them. They have to do that for themselves.
Yep.
And this is a much different situation between colleagues, obviously.
Well, yeah, and again, this is I kind of caution against caring it, but I don't care about like Hollywood relationship cases. Like, to me, it's like I want them both to suffer on principle, because they're both making a media circus over a bunch of stuff that's unprovable and has forced people to take sides on something like that. And maybe it's just because I'm a dude, but these things don't interest me the way they interest women.
Yeah, this has been a huge
like the
story
Johnny
for
the
a
Johnny
very
Depp one.
niche.
The Johnny Depp one really interested people because they used it as a proxy war for the gender divide between men and women.
It was a reckoning for the MeToo movement as a whole.
This was a very different case, because and even that one I would have cautioned against it, because again, Hollywood celebrities don't live the life that you or I live by any stretch of the imagination, and you should not model whoever wins this case as some type of victory for whichever side you're on. Certainly, in this case, Blake Lively winning this lawsuit does not, or not even winning this lawsuit, having his lawsuit tossed out because she hasn't won her lawsuit yet, though this doesn't bode well for that. That doesn't mean that women have won anything. It's like Chris Rock talked about when OJ won, and he talks about how black people would be like, we won. He's like, what the fuck did we win? Every day I look in the mail for my OJ prize. Nothing. Like, you did not win.
Looking in the mail for my Blake Lively prize.
If you're a feminist, you do not win by Blake Lively winning this case. And if you're a male feminist, you definitely lose, because Justin Baldoni has obviously had this coming, or he brought this on himself.
Yeah, some people are predicting that Blake Lively is going to withdraw her claims now. That remains to be seen. I think she's going to pursue it further, but she has lost in the court of public opinion. He has not. This was just a legal win for her, and legally it seems to be a sound decision. It's just immoral and deeply evil from everything you can tell on the outside. Just
kind of, guard yourself against thinking that anything that happens to celebrities is relevant necessarily to you. Though I guess you could make the statement that sometimes it's indicative of a change in the court of public opinion, like with the Johnny Depp one, meaning that people were putting out like the tip jars at Starbucks, where it was like one jar was for Johnny Depp, one was for Amber Heard. You could use that as being analogous to the gender divide in a way.
It's like that bakery that predicts the election with those cookies.
Yeah. Yep.
It's sort of like that, yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media, and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.